So I want to share with you the idea, is beekeeping really different depending on where you live? Can beekeeping make that much of a difference? So I'm going to get into this tonight, kind of see if I can shed some light on this because I get this question asked a lot. Like, oh, I like listening to this person because they live in my area. I like more talking about something that's more closer to my area. And how much does that really make a difference? Is beekeeping vastly different based on where you live? Well, let me just share my thoughts on it. There are some universal principles of beekeeping that really makes no difference where you live. And I think that's really what I'm saying and what I want to share tonight is that whether I'm teaching classes or making YouTube videos, I'm really talking about the very basic universal principles that apply to anybody and everybody who is keeping bees, because there are universal principles like mite control. That's a universal principle, right? Swarm control, universal. Harvesting honey, queen issues, feeding bees, bee inspection, the bee biology is very universal, very basic, fundamental, universal traits of beekeepers. And so that's the important part of our understanding of beekeeping, that before we do anything else, before you disagree or think, wait a minute, I don't understand. Let me explain it by first, let's get some ground rules, right? Like there's a drone, there's a queen, and there are worker bees. It doesn't matter where you live. That's beekeeping. that's what a colony is made of. Okay. There are some very basic things, fundamentals of comb and brood production and larvae and pupae and foragers and all the different things that bees do in a colony. The overall way that a colony maintains its health and it grows is universal. And so based on that, I'm saying that beekeeping really is the same no matter where you live. I do know that you're probably thinking, oh, wait a minute, I want to talk about the differences, but let me take this a little bit further. So some people might say, well, there's different weather, there's different climate, but remember that part might be different only because we agree that temperatures, external things beyond beekeeping affects our bees to some degree, right? Like even though climates vary, the fundamental practices in beekeeping really do remain the same. Maybe we adapt to different weathers, but there's no difference really in beekeeping. So for example, let's say there's somebody that lives way up north in Canada. And then there's me in the middle of the U.S. And then there's somebody way down on the south side, a southern part of a southern state. Three extreme parts almost of the U.S. there. Well, bees are going to be the same. Beekeeping is the same, but how we deal with the external weather is going to be a little bit. We're going to adapt to it. Somebody up north might have to have more insulation or feed more than I might, or that somebody way down south might. But that doesn't mean that beekeeping in and of itself is different. It means we adapt differently to the climates. But we all have the same common challenges, right? It doesn't matter whether you live way up north or if you live where I live or way down south. You still have pests and diseases. We all do. Bee colonies, the bees wrestle with wax moth and small beetle, the varroa destructor mite. I mean, our bees are constantly dealing with the varroa destructor viruses that they spread. Doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what state you live in. Queen issues are common no matter where you live. If you lose a queen in Georgia or if you lose a queen in Wisconsin, it's the same thing if you lose a queen in Illinois. And how you respond to that, it's the same way. Some people wrestle with drawn out comb. Oh, I can't get my bees to draw out my honey supers. And so, but it's the same no matter where you live. The timing could be different. There could be a little bit of difference here and there, but it's just you adapt to the different climate that's a little bit different. Population increase or population decrease that you see during a hive inspection, that's beekeeping. Maybe you're getting my point. So really, the very heart of beekeeping is the same. It really does stay the same. Now, I want to take this a little bit further and talk about it. Whether if you live really far south, you can get by with one deep, but I need two deeps. And if you live really far up north, you're going to need, depending on your style, but you might want to prefer to go with two deeps. So that means that even though we have different hive configurations, my point is beekeeping is the same. Honeybees, the colonies, bee biology, it's all the same. Even though we adapt slightly to maybe our weather, beekeeping is the same. So, for example, let's take Formic Pro. A way to control your mites, Formic Pro, formic acid. The temperature range for Formic Pro is between 50 and 85 degrees. That's the optimal legal label that you're supposed to use Formic Pro, 50 to 85. Now, if you're going to use Formic Pro, or if I say you should consider using Formic Pro for Mite Control, it doesn't matter where you live. It's still 50 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the way it crumbles, right? So those things, I just can't, I guess I'm just wanting to make sure you understand that the fundamentals of all of these things are the same. Another thing that interests me is like a lot of studies on oxalic acid has been done from Florida, the University of Florida with Cameron Jack and Jamie Ellis. They've done extensive research on oxalic acid, what the dosage is, what the best dosage is for OA to really work effectively. That's done in Florida. That's a southern state. But yet all of us, no matter where we live, we respect the work that they're doing, and we apply their research of OA. And it's even allowed us to understand that a little more OA than what was on the original label, but what's on the new label actually allows us to use more. So, we're not saying that, we're not listening to the data that came out of Florida because their bees are in Florida with OA. And so, they're not talking about the use of OA up north. It doesn't apply to us. It does apply to us because they're only looking at the basic mechanics, the fundamentals of beekeeping. So, learning the fundamentals in beekeeping, the basics are universal. That's my point. Then you need to find a local club. Maybe you need to find a smaller support group of people in your area. Now, they will help you determine what is your nectar flow? What are the floral sources in your neighborhood, in your country square mile that your bee is going to be on? That gives you greater insight to unique things that your bees may do in your area. But all in all, beekeeping, really the essential universal parts of the fundamental of beekeeping really is the same in every country. It's the same in every state, no matter where you go to. So some things can be adaptive. Some things can be a little bit different, but beekeeping is the same. All right. Well, I wanted to share that with you tonight because I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about this. And because I get that question asked so much, about what do I do where I live? Beekeeping is a little different. But again, whether you're having to deal with, like some people may say, well, I live in the northwest of the United States, and we have a lot of moisture issues. Well, at times all of us can have moisture issues. Today, I've got a moisture issue. My bees are responding here in Illinois to a couple of days of moisture, just like I live in the Northwest. Northwest. So it can be the same. It just means that when it happens, whatever we're dealing with, we have to adapt with our bees. But don't get caught up in thinking that bees behave in a lot of different ways based on the location, because bee biology, the colony itself, really performs the same way. There's a queen, drone, workers. They draw comb, they gather nectar, they store resources. They do all of that the same way, no matter where you live. Oh, we got a great bunch of stuff to go over tonight. I got a giveaway that's really special. I'm going to give one of these away right now. Now, a viewer sent me a lot of cool stuff, and I want to share it with you guys. I think I've got several of these. Lewis sent me some really neat things that he made from metal. They're beautiful. I mentioned one of them in my video that I made today. And so what I want to share with you today is he made several of these, and we're going to give a few of these away. Going to give at least one of these away tonight, maybe more. We'll see. But see if you can guess what it is. Do you know what that is? This is actually, hang on. Let me show you this. Now, if you have watched many of my videos, you've seen me wear this. Now, I made this myself. Yeah, I know. I can hear everybody saying, we can tell you made it yourself. But I cut out a piece of plastic and I took some 100% silicone and cut my veil out and just stuck it onto my veil in the hole. And it makes finding eggs so much easier when I'm doing a hive inspection, because I can actually see through this plastic a lot easier than I can see through a veil, when the sun hits it just right. So what this is actually one that's easier to install that Lewis made. And as you can tell, this has just a plastic coating on it that you peel off to protect the plastic. But once you peel that off, he sent these plastic screws that you would cut your veil, and then you would just screw this, leave a little, do it just right where you can have the veil go down into the metal. Then you can screw this back on. So let's go ahead and give one of these away. I think it'd be good for you guys to do that. And I think it's #window. So if you want to try a window in your veil to help you see eggs better, we'll go ahead and say, leave in the chat right now, #window. #window. We would be glad to pick a winner to see who would win one of these. We might give another one away too. Well, Lewis sent several of these. It's pretty impressive. I want to show you one more thing that Lewis made. He made several things and he sent me these, but I love this one because it goes right into something I say quite often. And can you read that? It says, cowboy up. A lot of times I say in beekeeping, hey, you just need to cowboy up and get it done. So I'm looking forward to a great place to hang this. Isn't that great? Got horses and cactus, cowboy up, get it done. I'm not giving that away. I love that. So thanks, Lewis, for that. But leave in the chat #window. Somebody said #door. Won't get you anywhere. Correct that and put down #window, all lowercase, for your chance to win one of these windows that you can put in your hat and veil. We got some good feedback on people enjoying the one that I showed how to make, a do-it-yourself one. And I know there's other companies that sell these. You can buy these, but this is just a neat one that you can pick up and do it yourself. Hey, beekeepers are resourceful, right? We know how to do it. And we got some question and answer time coming right up. All right, Robbie, let's see who's going to win the new window for your hat and veil. Let's find out who is going to win tonight. All right, here we go. Let's see. Let's click on draw and take a look. Exciting times. Who's going to win tonight? Here we go. I'm seeing people go by that I recognize their names. Blaine Heckman, congratulations. You're the winner of this little window that goes on your veil. You need to email us within 24 hours, Blaine, beaksquadwinner@gmail.com. Let us know within 24 hours that you're the winner, and we'll get this sent right out to you as soon as possible. Thanks for doing that. All right, we got a couple more things to give away, so do stay tuned. But right now, I want to jump in and start answering your questions. All right. Let's see what kind of questions are coming from the Beak Squad tonight. David, I was just wondering if the queen didn't mate well the first time, will she go out again? Very good question. Usually, we always say the queen goes out on one mating flight. However, we do know from science that the queen does go out during her first few flights. Her being a virgin queen, she will take more than one mating flight. Absolutely. Now, that's the first few days of her being a virgin queen. Once she's mated well, she'll never go out on a mating flight again because she doesn't need to. But yes, it's not uncommon for a virgin queen to take more than one mating flight within her first several days. Good question. Absolutely. Hey, Mike, question. I'm in West Tennessee. Wait a minute. West Tennessee. Have you told me where you live? Because my sister lives in West Tennessee. My sister lives near Martin, Tennessee. But I need to find out where you live. I travel to see her quite a bit. West Tennessee, can I move my hives now on a day that they don't come out, or do I need to wait so I don't mess up the orientation flight? Good question. Mike, you know what? The longer you can wait, the better. If your bees aren't foraging, if foraging is over in Western Tennessee, if there's nothing for them to forage on, you're not going to lose any foragers. Let's just put it that way, right? They might be going around looking for stuff. But the longer you wait where it does cool off, then you don't have to worry about them getting lost. For those of you just tuning in or you're new to beekeeping, if you move a hive after the foragers have established themselves where their hive is, if you move it, your foragers will never find it again. They're that locked in. That's a good question, Mike. Yep. Hey, Jeffrey, my hives get pretty grungy after 2 years. How often do you swap out the box and clean and paint the old box? Also swapping out 2 to 3 frames a year. Yeah, like the idea of swapping out 2 or 3 frames a year after 5 years. No need to do it much before 5 years for a hobby beekeeper. Boy, there are some of my boxes that look kind of grungy too. It depends on kind of like if you put them underneath some weird trees that are, dripping leaves and stuff on them. And if they're close to the ground, they get moldy and mildew in a wet place. Yeah, they're going to look bad. If they're kind of dry out in the sun, they're not going to look so bad. But yeah, if you want to, you can clean them up. They're going to last longer every probably 4 or 5 years if you could slap a coat of paint on there. But I've painted some of my hives only once and they still look good. I've got other hives that are just never been painted and they still look good. But I get the idea of a lot of people want their stuff to really look good. Right. More questions coming my way from Matthew. Has there been a study about how many bees leave hives for foraging with mites on them? I don't know. That study could be done. You could actually collect the bees that are the foragers as they leave. You could actually collect them and then put them somewhere where you could count them, get the mites off of them and count them. That study could be done. Be more interesting to me, Matthew, of how many foragers return with mites on them. And what would be a better study if you could do both. Count the number of mites that are leaving the hive, and when those same bees come back, how many mites are on the returning foragers. That would tell us if some of the mites are jumping off on flowers. Brilliant idea. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Yeah, that's interesting. A lot of these studies a lot of studies just haven't been done like we'd like for some of these studies to go on. I like that idea though. Hey, James, what are your thoughts on the new pest that has reached our shores? I wonder where James is. Oh, AAA Labs. I hope you're not on the shores of the U.S. Where are you, James? I don't want to answer that question until James tells me where he is. AAA Labs, Mike. Reached our shores. Where is James? Is he going to tell us? Anyway, I've not heard that AAA Labs has reached the U.S. yet. It is in Eastern Europe. It's a whole different type of mite. It has so many different characteristics. A lot of research is being done to get ready in case it does reach the U.S. A lot of our entomologists are actually dealing with that. James, are you telling me that I'm not going to repeat that. I don't know if that's accurate. Apparently, James is saying AAA Labs has reached Long Island. I've not heard that yet. I may be behind. And wow. Yeah, I need to find out what that's all about. Yeah. All right. Katie, is there any benefit or harm in letting your bees naturally swarm and maybe catching them rather than manning swarm control? Oh, that's a good question. Katie, I like your thinking on asking a question like that. There's really no harm in letting bees swarm. That's what bees are going to do naturally. That's the way that bees reproduce in nature. They swarm to produce another colony. That's reproduction. They have to do it. It's very common. Yes, it's not a bad thing. Only a bad thing if you live in a city and your swarm goes over and scares people or harms people by too many bees in an area that could possibly sting people. So that's one thing that we think about. So if you don't want to do swarm control, the only danger to the colony would be if that original, if the queen that the virgin queen left behind, there's several swarm cells that are left behind to take over the place of the queen that swarmed away. So if that queen gets in a fight with other virgin queens and they all kill each other, they're queenless. They can't raise another one. There's no eggs. So it's a little bit risky anytime you're getting queens mated, that some of them may not get mated. Hey, Tom, good to see you tonight. Tom says, thanks, David, for your help this week. You're the best. I hope you and Sherry and everyone who's watching in the U.S. has big fun time getting ready for Thanksgiving. If you're not in the U.S., have a big fun time anyway. Well, thank you, Tom. We are looking forward to Thanksgiving. Is later this year. You know, it's the 28th. So it's still a little bit of ways. Yeah, good to hear from you, Tom. David, I just checked my only winterized hive today. There seems to be many dead bees on the outside of the hive. Is this dead summer bees? First thing I want to do is make sure those aren't drones. And if you verify that they are worker bees, it's very likely that that could be your first batch of your summer bees that are indeed dying off, and the bees are cleaning them off. You may have had a cold snap already, and it could be just natural summer bees dying off. Usually that's what happens. Yeah. Kind of scary to see dead bees no matter what time of the year you see them, isn't it? Wow. Hey, Dave, buying my first colony next April. Everybody congratulate Dave for being a new beginner. All right, Dave, good for you. How many bees are in a 3-pound cage and in a nuke? Which do you recommend for a beginner? I'm leaning toward a nuke. Bees that are in a 2, maybe 3-pound. Okay, so terminology, Dave, we call these packages. And most packages are 3 pounds of bees, which is 10,000 bees in 3 pounds. I do know there are 2-pound cages. People get 2 pounds of bees. I prefer 3 pounds to get the bees off to a good start. Within that 3 pounds of package of bees, there is also one mated queen in her own separate cage. A nucleus, on the other hand, that's usually 5 frame of bees, almost the same number as a package. But that 5 frames of bees has various stages of brood, eggs, larvae, pupae, and it has a mated queen walking around. The disadvantage of a package is that package, once it's installed, can abscond, where they all leave. Any kind of wild animal can run off after you bring it home. Where a nucleus, they're more set in their ways, set in their place. The queen's out, the queen's laying, so forth. I would say most people prefer a nucleus. But I really like a package. Not that I like it better than a nuke. I sell both every spring. But I was talking with the bee inspector in Iowa, and Andrew. He was telling me that he really prefers packages for new beekeepers too, because they get to firsthand watch it grow from nothing. You know, I mean, starting out with no drawn foundation, shaking bees in there, watching the bees expand. It's really quite awesome to watch. But if you start with a nucleus, you're starting with kind of like half a hive already, almost a quarter to a half a hive, depending if you have one deep or two. So it's really your picking which one you prefer. But good luck, David. Good to see you getting into beekeeping. Recovering apiary after Helene flooding knocked out 5 to 8 colonies. Oh, sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear about that. Fall resources destroyed. So I've been feeding 1-to-1 sugar with additives for 7 weeks in Southwest Virginia. When should I switch to 2-to-1? You can switch to 2-to-1 anytime you want to build up winter stores for your bees. That's usually so they can not spend so much time drying down the more heavily syrupy sugar that you're giving them. 2-to-1. I don't feed 2-to-1 in the fall anymore like I used to. I feed 1-to-1 to stimulate brood, and then I give them candy boards in the wintertime. That's just my technique. You can do what you want. I don't own the corner of all beekeeping knowledge. It's not my way or the highway. So if you want to switch to 2-to-1, you want to do it anytime you feel like your bees don't have enough resources on board. Yeah. Well, sorry to hear about your loss. Hopefully they'll build back up quickly for you. Yep. Hey, Craig, how are you doing? If my sugar water with powder in it is smelling fermented, should I take it off? Yeah, why not? Anytime that your sugar water might go rancid or ferment on you, it's got a little bit too much yeast in it, it got warm and such, you might as well discard it. I try to only make enough that I know the bees are going to consume it quite quickly. If I have a quart jar, sometimes I make a half a quart if I can tell that colony isn't eating much. If they're eating a lot, then I can make a lot. So I kind of let the bees tell me, and that way I don't waste sugar water by waiting on my bees to eat it while it goes bad, maybe in the warm, hot sun or something. Yeah. Hey, Robert, pros and cons of high fructose corn syrup. Yeah, boy, that's really debatable. I would say a lot of people, well, there's two sides of the fences. One side is that most people are a little bit worried about fructose corn syrup in people and in bees. Other people feed it to bees all the time. They don't mind it. A lot of commercial beekeepers live off of feeding their bees HF corn syrup. Now, I do know that if you have fructose corn syrup in tanker trucks, I've read the studies, and you leave it really, really hot in those tanker trucks, like on a hot summer day, for a very long time, you can develop HMF. Don't make me pronounce that name. But it's deadly to bees. So you don't want that kind of fructose corn syrup to get hot for a very long period of time. Yeah. So, but again, a lot of people use it and they live by it and think it's great. A lot of people hate it, think it's bad. Hey, Robert, question from Central Arkansas. Hello, Robert. I was born in Forest City, by the way, Robert, if you know where that is, central toward Memphis. At what temperature do bees stop drawing comb? Usually that temperature is around 50 degrees Fahrenheit when they start clustering. If it gets cold enough where bees are clustering, they just can't do any work. But to dive deeper into it, anytime that the bees stop foraging, it's hard for them to draw comb because they have to turn about 8 ounces of incoming nectar or honey. They have to metabolize it to make 1 ounce of wax. So if the honey flow stops, that's when they stop drawing as well. So it's not always about temperature. It kind of is, but not always. Be sure and subscribe to the live stream if you're watching a replay or something. Love to have you give us a thumbs up. Even if you're watching live, be sure to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Hey, James, just checked with the person I saw last night. Trophy mites are in Russia. Oh, James, I thought I was going to have to shut the live stream down. Thank you for clarifying it. I was like in panic mode. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so many beekeeping friends and entomologists in Long Island. And that's where I talked to Lewis last night that sent me the thing. And I was just like, whoa, ding, 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 ding. Whew. I'm glad he clarified that. I'm going to sleep better tonight. We don't want AAA laps in our country. It may be inevitable, but fingers crossed. Hey, Sally, I've got 2 very active hives. Checked on them yesterday and very little activity from one of them. Temperature is in the mid 40 or in the 40s. Is that normal? I'm sorry to hear that, Sally. Listen, I have thought my bees were dead in the middle of winter, and then you go knock on them, tap on them, put your ear against it, and you can start hearing bees, and you think, okay, they're okay. Have you done that yet? Doing the little knock test, knock, knock, knock. Anybody home? Might want to wear your hat and veil in case somebody comes out and stings you. So it's not really normal for bees to die because it's 40 degrees, not at all. They can die from other things, but hopefully they're just tucked away at that nice temperature and they're okay. Linda, is it too late in the year to transfer 3 deep nucleus to a double deep hive in Missouri? Thank you. Linda, I don't think so. I really don't. Be careful not to chill the brood. If it gets above, or gets below 60, 65 degrees Fahrenheit, you have to do it kind of quick. You can pull that off. Yeah, you could do that. I want to thank you guys for the questions tonight. These are some deep questions. You're really just making my mind really work hard. You see smoke coming out of my ears yet. You know I'm really having to work hard over here. Danny, newbie since spring. Oh, Danny, good to have you on board as a new beekeeper. You've watched all of my videos, all of them, even the one that I first made 16 years ago when I was like 10 years old. I showed a clip of that video today in today's video, and I'm so embarrassed to show that. The sound is awful and the quality is awful. So thankfully I lived long enough to make a little better video. Okay, so anyway, watched all your videos, learning. Bees probably won't make it through winter, but have resources. Oh, do I save the resources for spring? Absolutely. Wonder why your bees may not make it. Are you being a negative Nilly? Let's be positive. Let's be positive, Danny. Bees are going to make it. But if they don't, you can use those resources, provided those resources the bees didn't die from a contagious disease like American foul brood or something. But if they just dwindled and died, you can use all those resources. Yep. Hey, Mark, how do you clean the tar and buildup from your smoker? Oh, these are great questions. Okay. I do have a lot of tar buildup, not just on my teeth. No, I'm not a smoker. But I do have tar buildup on my smoker. And my videographer, Patrick, who isn't here today, he chose to go out for his wife's birthday party. What kind of commitment is that? Well, it's a big commitment to his wife. But anyway, Patrick taught me to take a blowtorch, those yellow or blue bottle torches for plumbing, and burn it off with a torch. Brilliant. Works every time. It's great. You'll love it. Wow. Good tip. Clean her up. Be careful, but it works. Thank you guys for all your donations coming in tonight. Appreciate them. Hey, Gary, you're curious. I have comb honey left over from a late removal. I did that. I think smells a little fermented now. Is it okay to feed back to bees in moderation? I think all of us probably feel like that fermentation isn't really going to bother bees that much. I've tested fermented honey. I have. I've conducted studies on fermented honey and its impact on human beings. It was a very limited study of just me. I was like, this jar of honey is fermented. You open it up and I kept eating it and kept eating it. And look at me, 96 years old. I look like a 65-year-old. I'm kidding. No, I don't. I think bees are smart enough to know if they don't want to eat that or not. But yeah, it's odd that I think you said that comb honey got fermented. That's a little odd because usually comb honey is capped over at the right moisture level. So maybe the smell is kind of deceiving you to think it's fermented. I don't know. Good question. Question, can I feed my bees pollen subs right now? I live in Central Arkansas. Well, we have Central Arkansas watching tonight. Everybody in Central Arkansas has tuned in. Hello, Central Arkansas. Second question from there, at least 2 of you. Can you feed pollen sub right now? Absolutely, if you want to. Now, there are some studies or some people that say that if you feed bees extra protein, that it could, I can't think of the right word. It could make viruses worse. Now, my position on that is, if that is true, here's the deal. every colony has a lot of protein in it from its natural protein in the bee bread, and it has protein in it from the pollen that it's brought in. And because of vitellogenesis, honeybees have protein in their head and their abdomen stored as part of their vitellogenesis. And so there's a lot of protein in the colony to begin with. So I'm not fearful. I like protein in the hive. I've not seen the collapse of my hives because of viruses, but yeah, you can feed protein anytime bees want to consume it. I remember hearing some studies where people would take protein substitute powder and sprinkle it into open cells in frames to help feed their bees in the winter. Henry, what diet are the winter bee kinds fed to create a winter bee? What diet in the winter? No, what diet are the winter? Oh, I'm sorry. What diet are the winter bees fed to create a winter bee? I don't think it's so much the diet. It's more of the timing. It's more that there is a pause in the nectar flow, a dearth, and that dearth causes bees to get into a winter state of physiology. There could be a diet shift. Bees do have quite a bit different diet based on what their activities are. There could be, but it's more so an absence of dearth. No, the absence of nectar is a dearth. Yeah. Very good. Look at my time. Okay, we're good. Mm-hmm. Oh, look at this. This is a Van Gogh drawing, a painting of Vincent van Gogh. I thought it would be so good. I think Vincent van Gogh's paintings are public domain. I could be wrong, but a lot of people take his painting. It has a little church and a community in the background down here, and then stars above it. I think it'd be so cool for some of you to draw a Vincent Gogh painting and not put a church down here like it's in his painting, but put beehives far away in the bottom, and how you could put a silhouette of the backside of a beekeeper looking toward his hives. If you can draw that, send it to me. I would love that. It'd be so cool. Hey, Rick, what is an acceptable level of nosema spores per bee before you have to treat with something? Ooh, nosema spores are difficult to measure because you have two types of nosema, nosema ceranae, and you got nosema apis. And so detecting which of those nosema spore counts you're doing, and for the life of me, I used to know that. And I used to do my own nosema testing as well. So I would watch those spores, but it escapes me now what those numbers are. I haven't done it in a long time. What I would suggest you do, Rick, why don't you send those off to the Beltsville, Maryland Bee Lab? They will do that for you, and they'll do it very precisely, and they'll give you that count, and they'll tell you, I don't know if they'll tell you which spores they are. I think they do, but they'll tell you what you need to do. That'd save you a lot of time. I don't even think it costs anything. If you look it up online, it even tells you how to prepare your bees for those nosema spore counts. Yeah. I love Jay's work at the Beltsville, Maryland Bee Lab and all. Oh, there's Jay, but not the same Jay. Hey, Jay Glosser. When making winter bee kind boards, can add honey to the mixture? I've never done that before, Jay. Don't know the side effects or the ramifications. I would say test it in small batches first to see. Not sure of that one. Kind of don't see why not, but don't want to say so for sure, not knowing. All right. Good evening. Just came in. Oh, just came in. Good to have you in. Thanks for stopping by. What do I do when my bees are not using their sugar water? Been in there 3 weeks, only half used. They've used half of it. It could be that they have enough honey on board that they don't need to use it. You could try to change the mixture. Make it thinner, make it more water than sugar, or make it more sugar and water, and see if changing that mixture might help you out a little bit. Yeah. Got some giveaways coming up. Don't go anywhere. Hey, Lynn, Oh, Lynn has a silly question. Does the queen take potty break in the winter? Oh, that's such a good question. Bee biology. The queen is always relieving herself when she needs to, like all the bees do. However, she has a cleanup crew that follows her around. That's right. She never leaves the hive, and when either whether she needs to defecate or whatever, that is simply something that her retinue will take care of. And yeah, she never has to go anywhere to do that. Do you know, by the way, if you want to hear something really gross, uh, bees do not pee and poop. They're not like humans. Bees have Malpighian tubules that kind of takes care of all that in one lump sum. So interesting that you are thinking that way. That's yeah. I'm glad you asked those kind of questions. They're not silly at all. Hey Joe, I have a laying worker colony. I'm so sorry to hear that. By the way, if you don't know what a laying worker colony is, I mean workers who normally cannot lay eggs, they start laying eggs in the absence of a queen or brood pheromone. I just set the box on top of another box that was strong. What should I expect to see? Will they be okay or just fight? I didn't have any newspaper. Ooh, that is an experiment that you're going to have to tell us, Joe. Here's what I think using kind of my experience in that is that if you have a very strong colony, there might be a little bit of fighting going on, but I don't think they're going to destroy your queen. I really don't. In my experience, I think your queen and her pheromone and the pheromone of all of her workers that all the pheromone kind of circulates through are going to just change over the mindset of the colony that you added that has laying workers. But they still might fight because, it's kind of a pseudo kind of a type queen mentality up in that laying worker hive. Yeah. But let us know. Jump back in here sometime and tell us what happened. Be interesting to find out. Hey, Rick, have you tested sumac berries in the smoke to help control mites? I have not personally done that, but my good friend, Dr. John Zavishlak, early on in his scientific career, did do studies on that and didn't find it did anything really. Yeah. And there's so many other ways to really control mites than trying to use those kind of methods that we really don't know the dose or anything like that at all either. One more question, then let's have a few giveaways. Referring to splits, is it a good idea to buy a new queen and then make your split with that queen, or just go about doing splits in the normal way? Okay, very good question. I love it. If you buy a queen that's mated and you make a split, the benefit of that is that the queen doesn't have to go out on a mating flight. When the queen goes out on a mating flight, she's subject to be eaten by dragonflies, birds, and get hit by a school bus. And so you don't want your queen to die. And so that's what is kind of risky. I don't buy mated queens. I raise my own queens, but they still have to go on mating flights. But I like to take the old queen that's mated out of the hive for my split and let the big colony back home raise their own queen. That way they won't swarm on me again. All right, let's have another giveaway. We've got 2 more giveaways coming up. I'm going to give away another one of Lewis's windows. These are windows that you can actually attach. You can cut open your hat and your veil and your hat and veil, and you can actually insert it like mine, like I did. Like this. Only his will look better than mine. Mine looks kind of homemade DIY. But I love looking through that, looking for eggs. It's a lot easier than trying to look through a dark mesh screen. Anyway, we'll give one of these away. So leave a comment, #window. Now, this is a plastic protective coating to protect the plastic. Once you peel it off and cut it, it comes with screws that you can punch in there. Giving this away for free. You're on your own to figure it out. Don't ask me how to do it. You'll figure it out. #window. #window to help you see a little bit better. All right. Just leave a comment in our comment section, #window, and we'll send one out to you. Okay, Robbie, let's go ahead and try for it again. See who's going to win the window today. It looks like a really nice one. It's got that metal trim around it. That looks pretty good. I don't know if you could bend that or fashion a little bit if yours curved a little bit or not. Not sure. All right, let's see who's going to win today. If it's Blaine, we'll have to spin again. He won last time. All right. Look at the Benjamin. Okay. You're the winner, Benjamin. Be sure and email us at beaksquadwinner@gmail.com within 24 hours with your name and address, and we'll make sure we get this sent out to you. I have another giveaway that I want to give away tonight. I want to give away one of our ultimate beekeeping courses. Our beekeeping courses are going to be going 50% off on Thanksgiving Day through Cyber Monday. So that's coming up November 28th through December 2nd. But if you want to get a free one, tonight's the night. If you will leave a comment of hashtag class, we'll be sure and select a winner tonight. And then we'll get that ultimate online course sent out to you. Now, if you already have it, a lot of you do. Thank you so much. Please don't try to win it again if you already own it. This is not for the window. Don't try a window again. This is for the ultimate online beekeeping course. I think it's $279, 7 courses in one of me teaching just like I am right now, and some scenes from inside hives and all. Very fundamental, organized, in-depth beekeeping, Mite Control, advanced course, queen rearing, spring management, the whole deal right there in one package. You don't have to go searching all across YouTube to find what you need to know next. So it's a great class. Enjoy putting it together. Hashtag class, ultimate online course. Let's try to see who will win tonight. So leave a comment, hashtag class if you'd like to win. Also want to thank all of you for leaving donations tonight. Your donations are very much appreciated because we like to cycle those back into the live stream for giveaways and things that helps beekeepers. So we appreciate any donations that you have given tonight. If you don't want to make a donation here on live stream, YouTube, you can always go to our website at honeybeesonline.com. All right, Robbie, let's see who's going to win the ultimate online beekeeping course tonight. Hashtag class, get your name in there quickly before Robbie hits the button. He's giving you a few seconds, I can tell. Oh, they're still coming in. All right, here we go. Who's going to win my online ultimate beekeeping course? We'll get that sent out to you. Names are going by. JS, you're the winner of the ultimate online beekeeping course. Be sure and email us at beaksquadwinner@gmail.com within 24 hours. We'll make sure we get that class sent out to you. It's an online beekeeping course, and you're going to enjoy it immensely. All right, let's get back into some good questions. We've got a few minutes left here tonight. I want to get your questions in because questions that I don't answer tonight, I'll be trying to crack at them tomorrow in my green chair Friday answer chair. You guys are working me to death making videos. No, I love it. I love getting in the green chair. It's raw and unedited on Friday, and I answer a lot of questions from my YouTube channel, not all of them, and a lot of questions from my live stream here that I didn't get. Again, I don't get all of them answered. I do my best. I'm just one man. Thank you guys for your donations. Thanks, Mark. So let's have a few more questions tonight. What we got? David, a friend wants to start without foundation. Do you have advice on helping bees draw straight comb? No, that's going to be risky. If you don't start with foundation and you're just starting with maybe a top bar frame type thing, you can have a little triangular piece of wood or start with a starter strip. That may do the trick, but you're always at risk of bees going in strange directions. But it can happen. You can alter them. Every other frame could be frameless or foundationless, and every other one might keep it straight until you get enough of them to keep replacing those that have comb on it or frames on it. Swap them out. Good question. Tough to do sometimes. Bees will do what bees want to do. Has anybody ever saw that before? Do winter heater bees have a different physiological property than other winter bees? Well, winter bees have different job assignments. I'm not sure if they're all that different in physiology than winter bees. Not really, but they have a different assignment. They're designated heater bees. They might heat for a while, and that's what they're going to be doing all the time. They're just got their heads stuck in cells, making a lot of heat between comb. I doubt if they're all that much different than the other winter bees. It's just their job. Yep. Just the job, the life they were chosen to do, the work they were chosen to do. Yeah. All right. A few more questions. Catherine, I fed all fall rescue bees with no resources. I fed a fall rescue bees with no resources. Oh, I see. Gotcha. Fed organic. Oh, spirulina. I always say that wrong. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing that because I always want to say spirulina, but it's something else in it. Syrup. Now I have many frames of blue-green honey. Yeah, you would, wouldn't you? Will this be good for winter protein? Why not? Probably not so much. Is it strong? It's a probiotic, right? So it's probably not real strong in protein, I don't think. Oh gosh, I think it is a little bit strong in protein. It's not going to hurt anything. There are some bee food now that people put that in there to help bees. I eat it myself. I think it's great. The bee food. The small beetles stop laying eggs in the winter, located in Plymouth, Indiana. Let's see, stop laying in the winter. Reduced, just like egg laying is reduced, but I stop laying completely, doubtful. It's risky. They'll start laying again anytime the weather starts warming up and there's a place for them to lay, but heavily clustered, they'll be reduced on how much they can lay, but they can still lay. Absolutely. That's real discouraging. If I have 30 acres in East Tennessee, should I separate the property out into different yards as far as I have one for breeding and another for honey production in different parts of the property? Oh, you know what? You can tackle that if you want to. And if it makes you feel better, if anything, it's just going to be organized better for you that you know then that yard you're breeding queens and that yard you're making honey. It might be better for you. But certainly you can do both in the same yard. I've done both in the same hives. I've raised queens and made honey in the same hives. Yep. All right, got time for a couple of more good questions tonight. Hey, Gary, I've always wondered if my bees go out, do they know they are collecting pollen or nectar that day, or do they maybe do both at the same time? Oh, that depends on what's available. No, bees really do have a strong instinct and a hive alertness, a beehive alertness to know what they need to go get. If they need to go get certain kind of minerals, proteins, honey or nectar or water, they know what to go get. So yeah, they do know what they're getting. Absolutely. They go strategically. They're very efficient. They go get what they need. It may be pollen one day. It may be both. It may be nectar. Could be water, but they know. Absolutely. Hey, Cheryl, how big does the push-in queen restrictor cage to break the brood cycle of our mites need to be? We kind of think the normal size of the plastic one that encompasses about 100 cells. And so the queen can only lay about 100 eggs. So, the smaller, the better to contain her. That way you don't have as many mites reproducing in what she lays in. Yep. You guys are stretching my intelligence tonight. Amber, winter deadouts. Will the frames be okay until it warms up, or should they go in the freezer ASAP? Oh, winter die-outs. It depends on how cold it is, Amber. I think if it's really cold where you live, if it's like, below freezing for a week or something, it's going to kill everything in those frames, like eggs of small beetle or wax moth. If it's still kind of warm outside, you might want to freeze them before you use them again or store them. You definitely want to freeze them if you store them indoors. All right, let's take another good question. What do you think about using tea tree oil? I don't really I don't really say much about tea tree oil because I've never used it, and I've never, I guess I've never had a strong feeling, good or bad, about it. But I do know other things that work just as good are in its place. So I'm going to say I have no knowledge about the effects, pro or con, of tree oil. Hi, David. When should I make my last inspection of the year in North Texas? Again, like we talked about in the beginning of the broadcast today, Mark, this depends on temperature. That's another thing. No matter if you live in Canada, southern US, in the middle of the US, out west, out east, inspections should only be done in temperatures above 65 degrees Fahrenheit. So it doesn't matter where you live. That's the same for everybody. So you let temperature tell you those answers. All right, let's sneak this last question in tonight. I'm in Tropica, Fiji, second year and still blindsided regularly. Yeah, I'm going to tell you that never stops. I'm blindsided. I've been blindsided this year in beekeeping several times by my bees. Seems honey flow is October, November, but I have 1 week. The other is doing amazing. But I have one hive that's weak. The other is doing amazing. Do you know how tropical bees rest? Oh, same way any bees rest. Yeah. Bees rest just by kind of like, we call it sleeping. It's resting. They're kind of on cycles like we are. They work, they rest, they work, they rest. It doesn't matter if they're in the tropics or if they're in Illinois. It's rest is rest for honeybees. That's bee biology. Well, guys, we made it through 59 minutes of more fun than we could tolerate. Oh my gosh. I really appreciate all of you being here tonight. I look so forward to Thursday, and I'm sad that it's over. You guys were a hoot tonight. Thanks for being here. Thank you guys so much. Oh, well, I got next Thursday to look forward to, and so do you. I hope you'll join us every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Time for our live stream. And if you're watching this live stream on the replay, good for you. Be sure and let us know you like the video tonight. Give me a thumbs up. And click on the subscribe button. Our channel continues to grow thanks to you guys. So I appreciate you all so much. I want to give a thank you for all of you that made donations tonight. That was so nice of you to help out the live stream with your donations. And I just think that's great. So thank you so much. You can always donate from our website at honeybeesonline.com if you don't want to make a donation here on YouTube. And I want to thank Sherry and Jessica and Robbie for their great work behind the scenes. Being live on YouTube here takes a lot, and I couldn't do it without those guys helping me out. So I really appreciate them so much. Most of all, thank you guys. I love all of you. I appreciate you. You guys mean the world to me. I really appreciate you making YouTube fun for me, making beekeeping fun. I like teaching you guys and sharing what I know in my videos. I wouldn't do it if you weren't watching. So keep watching. I appreciate it so much. I'm going to say good night, and I hope you have a great week. I'll see you in the next video.